How are you? What a crazy full moon this is. How are you? I've just been bawling my eyes out for the past week. But today I'm feeling good. This has been such a powerful full moon, and I'm going to explain to you why. We have a full moon in Libra. If I look over here, it's because I'm looking at the chart. And I have some notes here. So we have a full moon in Libra right now, which when the moon is full, what that means is that there is an opposition to the sun, a direct opposition at the exact direct degrees, right? The full moon happened today on the 16th at 2:55 p.m. So it actually has happened about 2 hours ago, but we're going to be feeling the effects before and after. So if you are feeling a pull inside of your relationships, if you are feeling a tension between independence and codependence, interdependence, if these are issues coming up for you right now, that's because of this full moon. So, I made the new moon video that was the 1st of April, and that was the start of the new moon and start of spring in Aries, right? The start of the astrological new year, the true beginning. And now we're at the full moon. We're at the culmination point. What is the full moon? It's the culmination point of our emotional tide, our emotional undercurrent, our subconscious, right? It is our subconscious self being illuminated by the sun. So it's kind of like we can't really hide how we feel about certain things. Things bubble up to the surface. Think about all of these little sayings bubbling up to the surface, not being able to hide, right? When the moon is fully illuminated, the moon represents our shadow. It represents the part of ourselves that we can kind of hide behind, that we don't really want to totally reveal to others, that we don't want others to totally see. We don't want to have to deal with the consequences. We don't want to have to deal with the truth. It's the truth about how we feel about things. During a full moon, sometimes that shit is out the window, right? That's when that's when amore happens, right? Love. People honestly feel hornier, right? The moon controls the tide. It controls the water of the planet, which means it controls the water in our own bodies, which means it pulls, right? So it's pulling out the water. It's pulling out at our emotions. It's pulling out at our core. And, we are in the middle this year of having a Pluto return. And I'm going to make a separate video about this, but I don't know if you guys are aware, but we're in the middle of a Pluto return for the United States of America is having its Pluto return, which is once every 248 years. So 2.5 generations, right? This year, right now, we are in the middle of a Pluto return, okay? Which is why it feels like the world is even crazier than it was during COVID. Which is why we feel the wars are happening and the economy and the list goes on and on and on and on and on, right? So this full moon especially it's the beginning of the new astrological season. It's the emotional undercurrent of what's really going on with us and all of the deep plutonic transformative processes. The Pluto return is a transformative processes that we are currently undergoing that is the moment of the snake shedding its skin, the phoenix rising, the scorpion emerging from its shell, okay? We are shedding, we are birthing, we are changing, we are evolving. This is happening in real time. This is not like I'm going to read about it and it's going to happen next year. No, this is happening now, right now. And it's happening to me. I feel it so deep in my bones, you guys. And I make these videos because of the changes that are going on inside of me. And I just hope and wonder if anybody else is going through the same thing, because what a crazy freaking time it is right now, right? And if you feel nuts, it's okay. If weird shit is happening to you right now, psychically, if you're having weird dreams, if you're feeling weird, if weird neurotic things are happening to you, or you just simply feel out of it, you don't feel like you're clicking, you feel dazed, you feel outside of the mainstream, I'm going to go ahead and say all of that is normal for these times, okay? So not only do we have the full moon in Libra, the sign ruled by Venus, the sign that is rules arts, the genteel, the democrat, the peacemaker, the relationships, custodian, the peace at any price is a Libra motto. And it's really a sign that is able to hold paradox. It's the sign that holds the scales of justice. It can see both things as simultaneously true. That's why Libras are notoriously cannot make a decision, have a hard time making decisions, because they can see that each path forward has virtue. Each path forward is valid, right? They also get tied up in the desires of others. They get tied up in what other people expect of them, what other people want of them, because they want peace at any price. So they will forsake sometimes their own intuition, their own truth, in order to keep the peace, right? So for women especially, Libra can be a tough sign, because we're already so conditioned, or anyone that is super empathic, okay? Not just women, but anyone that is super empathic. It can be difficult because we're already so sensitive to the needs of others that a lot of times we put ourselves in the back in order to prioritize, in order to make other people feel safe, feel seen, feel heard, and peace at any price. We want peace. We want those people to feel good, right? So this, for women and people that are super empathic, can be a difficult placement, Libra, okay? There's also strengths, of course. I'm just talking about the challenges. What's interesting with any sign, right? You always want to look at the opposite, right? So Libra is opposing Aries, right? It's always opposing Aries, right? It's the opposite sign. Libra, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's where the sun is currently at, right? Aries is all about the self. It's about independence. It's about pioneering. It's about going out on one's own. It's about not having fear. It's about not really needing anyone or anything. It likes solitude. It's not even necessarily that it likes solitude, but it's so like, I'm charging forward based on my impulses, based on my intuition, based on my internal fire, that if you're not coming along, peace out. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it doesn't give a fuck if it's like about peace as much. It's much more about getting it done. It's about the action, right? That's why it's the warrior. That's why Mars, that rules it, is the god of war, right? It's about moving things forward. It's about movement, right? So these two things are in opposition right now, which is, I believe, creating some tensions between people with any relationship in your life, okay? Any relationship in your life. And I'm going to talk about what kind of tensions, because I've talked to a lot of people, and it seems to be the general theme about what's going on right now. So currently, the other thing that's going on at this moment, at this new moon, is we are having a Neptune conjunct Jupiter moment, okay? And I'm sure you guys have probably heard this. I need some water. I'm sure you guys have probably heard this if you watch astrology videos or you're into astrology. This is only happening once every 135 years in the sign of Pisces. It's only going to happen once in our lifetime. And I am going to go out and say that we are at a pivotal moment of awakening on this planet right now. And man, I don't know about you guys. You tell me. But like, you know, the awakening that I'm talking about, I kind of thought like, oh, ascension, awakening. It's going to feel good. It's going to feel easy. It's going to feel great. I'm going to be freed, right? I'm going to be freed of a lot of the ego or things that have been holding me captive. Holy crap. This Jupiter-Neptune conjunction has been so intense for me. Like, it took me to some really intense, dark places within myself, because it was like, I had to kind of enter into that space to truly let it dissolve, to face it so that it can dissolve and I can ascend. And it's not like I haven't been doing that with like the iterations of shadow work that is my life. But this time in particular has felt incredibly powerful. And I think it's because of that Aries energy, that astrological new year. It's like, I'm ready to start new. I'm ready to shed, to rebirth, to forgive, to let the light in. And the spiritual ascension moment that the Neptune conjunct Jupiter, so that's at 24 degrees. They're at exact degrees on this full moon. They're at exact degrees, okay? And, you know, Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's like the planet, anything it touches, it expands, okay? It's the planet of faith. It's the planet of trust, of belief. It's the reason it's able to constantly expand is because it has this deep faith, interdimensional faith that goes so deep that cannot be broken, right? And that's how magic works. That's how faith works, is that you have such strong faith that it builds the bridge right directly in front of your eyes. That has happened to me my entire life. So Jupiter is exact degrees of Neptune, okay? Exact degrees of Neptune. Neptune is the energy of it, absolute awakening. It's like Jesus Christ's ascension. It's kind of like near-death experience. It's like death experience, near-death energy, when you die and you dissolve and you kind of have that. It's kind of like if you've ever done any psychedelics or anything where you kind of like loosen and you feel the reins loosening and you kind of emerge. It's the dissolution and dissolving of materiality in order to identify with the pure spirit of something. That's really Neptune. It can also, on the negative side, rule illusions that we've kept ourselves in, darkness, addiction, escapism, because that's the flip side of the light, right? Is that kind of awakening, that kind of vision, right? That kind of psychic attunement. Neptune at its highest is like the highest level of psychic attunement. And then blending with the energies of Jupiter that's constantly expanding, it's like mega massive psychic attunement at this point in time, right? In the sign of Pisces. It's currently in the sign of Pisces, which Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. It is the great dissolver. It is, once you've gone through all 12 signs, it's like, what happens next? You return back to the cosmos. You return back to the earth. You don't need to be in material form anymore. You turn into pure spirit, right? You return back. That's the Jesus Christ energy. It's Piscean. It's the fish, right? That's what's happening right now in the cosmos. So that intense dissolving ascension energy mixed with this new birthing energy of the new moon and the full moon now illuminating our inner selves, right? Because it's not just like, okay, the new year's here and I'm done with all the old and I'm ready to start. It's like that's how I want to be. That's exactly how I want to be. But there's like still shit that I have to go through. Like I went to my acupuncturist this week because I just like was feeling so much freaking grief. I definitely like, you know, and my cycle is here. I mean, it's like in conjunction with my cycle, but still I was feeling so much grief. I was so much pain for the planet, you know, so much of the war, so much of everything. I was just feeling it so intensely because that's what Pisces is, a water sign, right? The full moon, it's all activating all of our water. And I was just saying to my acupuncturist, who's like a master, I was like, you know, when is this grief going to end? I'm done with it. I'm ready to be finished. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on from this constantly feeling like I can't get out of this grief spiral, right? Because that's like, if you're a sensitive, empathic person on this planet right now, that's really our challenge, is to not be overtaken by the darkness of the pain of the world. That's my challenge, at least, okay? And this connects to the macro as it connects to the micro. So it's like the relationship we have with the planet, meaning the energies we feel, we're all one biotic entity, right? And also the relationships we have in our lives with our partners, with our friends, absorbing their energy, because that's the thing with the Piscean energy. It has no boundary and it absorbs, right? and what the world is calling for at this point in time of those that are empathic and spiritually attuned to wake up to this ascension process is for us to become extremely established in the foundation of our energetic field and the establishment of our energetic field. I don't like to say boundaries because I think boundaries are overplayed, and I think that anytime I hear the word boundaries, I'm like, ugh, I suck at those. You know what I mean? It just doesn't compute. It doesn't compute for me because I'm so emotional and I absorb so much from others. Establishing my energetic field and keeping that sacred and strong, that resonates with me. And ever since we've hit this new moon in Aries, that's really been the download that I've been getting from the universe, is that independent Aries energy that is like, establish your energetic field apart from others, apart from anyone in your life, and hold on to that. Hold on to your sacred energy. Hold on to the work. Hold on to your own creativity and what you are here to give to the world. Because if we remain in this constant blending with everything and everyone on the planet, we're going to get overtaken by fear. Because that is the dominant energy of a lot of people on the planet right now. And if we keep blending with that, we're going to keep falling into that. That's the energy of Pisces. It's a very, very heavy victim narrative where, and I'm guilty of it too. I've been so sensitive my whole life. I'm like, that's what I was complaining about to my acupuncture. I'm like, I'm so tired of feeling so sad. And it's like, when am I going to be able to gather the strength to establish my own energetic field, to not allow the negativity to completely demolish my spirit and my soul, to take all the joy out of living? Because that's really the essence of the truth of the matter in this time and space, at this moment in history, okay, you guys? This is the spiritual ascension issue, news. The word news came into my head. I don't know who's bringing that in. This is the news of the day, okay? Is that it's about our own internal process with how we deal with negativity on the planet, okay? And negativity from others. And it's not just, I'm not talking about spiritually bypassing here. Okay, I'm not talking about that. I am somebody that feels my feelings, okay? What I am talking about is focus. I'm talking about focus, and I'm talking about discipline in terms of holding and attuning to and focusing on what brings me pleasure, what brings me joy, and what inhabits and perpetuates more love on the planet. Focusing on that so that I can emanate more joy, more light, and then that light grid can grow on the planet, and then we can in a unified fashion grow the frequency of love on this planet together as our own selves. And eventually the darkness will dissolve, the wars will dissolve, the hatred will dissolve. This sounds like really airy-fairy, but it is the process of awakening, and this really is how it works. And I don't know if it's going to happen like that in our lifetime, but everything is moving so quickly these days. I feel like it very well could. It really, really very well could, you guys. And Neptune and Pisces are all about imagination. Imagination is like, Pisces Pisces is ruled by Neptune, right? And so, that's the sign of the artist, of imagining a new world. Albert Einstein was a Pisces. He says imagination is much more important than rationality. And imagination is what created the theory of relativity, right? It's what expands our consciousness, is allowing ourselves to think out of the box, to imagine a new kind of world, which we're all in the process of doing. But there is a lot of shade getting thrown around at everybody right now for all kinds of shit. Not being good enough, not doing it right, not being PC enough, being too PC, all this shit, right? All of it. It's like what kind of a world do we want to imagine in our own selves, and how can we establish our own energetic boundaries to maintain the work that is sacred to us and the energy that we want to present to the planet and that we want to feel in a consistent basis. And it really, 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 really comes down to this. So I wrote something else down. Just having a bunch of conversations today with a bunch of different people. So in terms of the Libra full moon, okay? Like I said, Libra is the sign of relationships, right? So this entire dynamic of this Pluto return on this full moon as well, there's a Pluto squaring the moon and the sun. So we're not only in the middle of a Pluto return, American Pluto return, which Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. I've talked about Pluto quite a bit. You guys should know by now what Pluto does, but look it up. It's the most intense, cataclysmic, destructive energy. When I see pictures of Ukraine, when I see anything, any war, any complete destruction, demolishment, it's, I think, Pluto, right? But that can happen internally as well, right? You can be internally demolished, which I feel like happened to me in 2021. I just got completely demolished. And that's why I'm ready to recreate in this new 2022 year, in this new astrological year, right? So the moon and the sun are opposing each other, and they're both squaring Pluto, which is a tension aspect. So we have the plutonic energies of intensity. Pluto also rules obsession, control, right? Mixed with these really intense energies of Pisces, right? That are about a spiritual awakening, emotion, ascension. Our emotions are high. So release whatever is coming up for you right now. If you're feeling really intense, let it out. Let yourself express it, you guys. Express it. Don't push it down. Don't ignore it. Don't pretend it doesn't exist. That is the most destructive act you can do for yourself and your soul at this point in time. I'm not kidding. There's too many people on this planet that are so afraid of their emotions because they don't trust themselves. They don't trust if they can handle it. They think they're going to lose their mind. They think they're going to go crazy. You can. You can handle your emotions. You can handle your feelings. Okay? You can trust yourself. You can trust this process. And it starts with allowing yourself to express how you feel. Express it. Don't hold it down. Get in tune with the truth about how you feel about things. Allow yourself to acknowledge that. That's the way to truly begin to let the old dissolve and the new to emerge. So the imagination, right? Because we have to allow those delusions, those illusions, right? That we hold up for ourselves. The world is full of illusion right now, right? With filters and selfies and just illusion. None of it's real, right? It's what's underneath there, right? What's really underneath there? And it takes a lot of digging to figure it out. But I believe if you're watching this, you have the power to. So yeah, that mixed with the energies of the water, and then we have the sun in Aries. So the sun in Aries, which is this independent, extremely bursting with energy, bursting with new life, opposing this Libra moon, right? So, how are you navigating your relationships these days? Are you in any kind of a codependent situation which basically codependency is not allowing yourself to completely be in your own energetic field, feeling like you need the validation, the energy of the other person. It really wears on anyone's self-esteem because you don't feel like you can actually do it by yourself, which is what Aries is all about. So there's this new emergent energy where all of us are in this rebirth period, right? Where we were just grieving and grieving. We've been grieving and grieving. We've been so exhausted. We were empath exhaustion, right? And we're kind of ready to emerge, but then we have all these relationships that we want peace in, right? And maybe our relationships are not on the same page as us. So maybe we dim our light. Maybe we hold, we acquiesce, we shine. We don't let our light fully shine in order to maintain these relationships so that we can have these communities. And I really, 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 truly feel that the way out of all of this is about letting ourselves release the effect. Because you can look at this in any way. You can be like, no, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be codependent, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, there's so many different ways of looking at all this. But I think what it really comes down to is our own spiritual journey, right? No matter what relationship, any kind of relationship, family, friends, partnerships, kids, any kind of relationship you're in, at the end of the day, you're born alone and you die alone. And it sounds kind of like harsh, but we're all on our own spiritual journey. And Earth is a place where we come to learn. It's a place we come to grow and evolve and change in this lifetime. And it really comes down to ourselves. So when we're afraid and we're acquiescing in order to please others, we're not really serving our own integrity, our own sense of growth, our own sense of self, right? Our own spiritual journey, right? And so I believe that the way out of all of this, as I was talking about earlier, is the establishment of the energetic field and allowing ourselves to release the effect that other people have on us and simply doing our own thing. When it's put like that, it's like, yeah, just do your own thing and give yourself permission to do that. And you know what? That's extremely Aquarian. And we're still Saturn is currently in Aquarius, and we entered the age of Aquarius in 2020. You guys remember? So it's almost like we're cleaning, because we moved from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. It's a 2,000-year long thing. And it's almost like we're wringing out these energies of Pisces in order to enter. And because Aquarius has a detachment. It's known as the sign of being extremely unique, revolutionary, rebellious, but also genius. It's the sign of genius. It's extremely futuristic because if it kept itself part of these really, really, bonds, really tight bonds in a tribal kind of way, it wouldn't be able to innovate and heal and evolve, which is what our planet is calling for at this time in history, right? We need desperately, all of us, to do our own spiritual work to innovate and heal and evolve and grow and dissolve the old, dissolve all that victim, all that pain, all that grief, so that we can rise and create the new in this astrological new year, right? But the only way we're going to do that is if we detach and allow, and this doesn't mean you have to end a relationship. It means that you can begin to shift the dynamics inside of the relationship, which means prioritizing yourself, prioritizing your creativity, prioritizing your joy. And simultaneously, like I truly, truly believe that it sounds selfish, but it's actually the thing. If everybody on the planet were doing that, then humanity would have so much more self-esteem, would have so much less victimhood, would have so much less anger and sadness and grief, because we were all living our own authentic truths in our authentic lives, right? So there has to be some level of detachment in order to be able to innovate and heal and evolve. And that's what I believe this full moon is calling for. So I hope this resonates in some way. This is definitely what I've been going through. This is what I've been feeling as the cosmos have been evolving, as I have been evolving. And, I really thought that in the beginning of the new moon, I got this surge of oh yeah, I'm ready. It's all over. All the pain and all the darkness is over. And then I was like, oh, I feel so sad for the planet. And I can't get out from under this grief. And I'm just like, my God, am I going to spend my entire life crying about the pain of the world? Or am I going to choose to embody what I want to see on the planet? which is love, acceptance, and the pursuit of my passion, the creativity of my own passion, and sharing that with the world, right? So that's my Easter message, and that's my message for you all this week. And I hope you're surviving this full moon all right. It's been a doozy. It's a doozy. I feel like I made it through though. And you can please contact me if you have any questions or you need to talk it out. Like, I'm like all about like communing with my brothers and sisters out there about all of this right now. I've been talking to a lot of different friends about all this, and it's been really helpful because everybody seems to be on the same exact page. So I wish you guys the most love, and just remember, the establishment of the energetic field is what will detach you, and not in a bad way, in a loving way, so that you can actually be in a healthier and happier relationships. Because I think what ends up happening is when we don't detach and we're in these codependent relationships, we think we're taking care of the other. What both people are doing is living from a fear space that they need each other in order to survive, and they're not fully accessing their wealth of power, their light, and they're both kind of holding each other down, right? Because of a fear. That's really what codependency is. And that's not the era we're in anymore. It's really not. So, all right. That's my message for the day. I love you guys. I love you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful couple weeks, and I'll talk to you all soon.